What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Movie Emporium's TV review of Bel Air Season 1, Episode 5, which is called From PA to LA. Now, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome, hit that like button, as well as commenting below on any video that you watch, including this one. And so with the after effects of Rashad now being killed for, being the guy who was trying to come out and kill Will, this episode is kind of a pull forward or push forward of the Bel Air series. It's moving chess pieces in the different parts of where the rest of the season, because this is a halfway point of where it's going to go. And has a lot of struggles for Will's character, for Trey's character. It sees, of course, Hillary moving into the influencer house, and it sees like different characters finally coming out in the open, kind of the after effects of what Phil did in the skating rink, and how Viv is going to continue forward as the artist and trying to deal with the fact that her daughter is moving out and the whole situation there. Michael Ealy comes in as the artist who was the one that was recommended to her, and he's going to probably play a big part in this season for probably the next few episodes. So there's a lot of moving pieces and there's a lot of dynamic stuff going on. And so for the most part of this episode, it deals with Will and Trey. Now, Will has moved, of course, to LA because of the incident that happened in Philadelphia. Trey is his best friend, I guess you could say. He comes out to LA to see Will. Trey is under the assumption that Will is, now that Rashad's dead, he's going to move back to Philly to be back, with his friends, his mother, the people that love him, all that good stuff. And this episode, for a simple fact that if it's going to continue as a show called Bel Air, there's no way in hell Will's going to move back to Philly, because one, it's only the 5th episode of the first season, and two, it's just not how things work in a dramatic TV series, a kind of situational series like this. So the way this story plays out is very predictable, but you still feel kind of the hurt and angst for the character Trey, because Will kind of leads him on. He doesn't give him a legit answer. He kind of pulls back. Will goes and talks to his aunt about the situation, and she's like, you got to decide what you want to do. If you want to stay or you want to go, that's up to you. It's the same thing he goes to talk to Hillary about, is he has to make the choice. He has to be the one that does what needs to be done because it's who he is. Now, as we see in the original Bel Air series, the Fresh Prince series, Vi never wanted Will to come back. She wanted him to have a good education, to be out there with her sister, to do a good thing. But this series is more realistic in its approach, so Vi is not really on board with keeping Will out there. She kind of wants him to come back so she can raise him. And Viv, kind of being Viv, kind of says something that kind of triggers Vi, which makes, would trigger anybody whose kid is in a different area, in a different situation. It's just, you really get a sense that Vi is just not really happy about the whole nature. And I love the dynamic between the two, and I love how the series is going. It's just kind of sad to see that it goes that route, that it has to go that route, because she wants him back. But as we learn from the end of this episode, there's a reason Will chooses what he does. But at first, when Trey comes into the mix, when Trey comes into this episode, everything's cool. He realizes where Will is staying, which is a really nice posh area. They're driving down Los Angeles, and it looks like they're driving down Hollywood Boulevard, whatever they're driving down in the middle of Bel Air. And they're talking about like the nice excitement area, how nice and beautiful it is. Trey goes to the house. This is the first mention of Will going back to Philadelphia, which is what Trey says. And Trey is just very in awe with like how good he has it. He's very much it's just what young people do when they see like very extravagant type of situation. And Trey, of course, meets up with Phil and meets up with Hillary and of course Viv, and brings Viv some like popular cookies from Philadelphia. And it's what you expect the first part of the situation to be. It's very calm, cool, collective. They're gonna go out and party, have fun. They're going to go to a D-Smoke concert later on in the week. It's what you expect. It's the things around it which start folding into this episode, which make this episode what it is. And so we have a couple of interconnecting stories, which we have Phil, who his campaign manager, Steve, is played by Duane Martin, basically says he's up in the polls. Everything is working well. Everything seems to be good for him. Everything's kind of on the level. As we're going to see, it may not be as truthful as he's saying, but we also have Hillary, Hillary, who is gearing up to leave the house, who's gearing up to go to the influencer house. So she brings in her kind of influencer staff, the people she's going to be working with. One's named Kylo, one name's Fanta, one name's Monica. There's Gerard and Nathan, as Phil calls the badass brother, or black ass brothers, I guess you could say. And it's funny to watch influencers and kind of how they interact with one another, because Gerard and Nathan are pranksters, so they make a prank in this episode. But they basically, what happens is they have a party which takes up a pretty decent chunk of the episode, and this is where we basically have Kylo asking Phil if he's making the right decision. Is this what he wants for her? And then he explains to her, or Phil explains to Kylo that this is exactly what he wants, and this is what he wants for his daughter. He wants her to do what she wants to do and be successful at it. He doesn't care what she does. She doesn't have to be a lawyer to be successful. But the other characters, like Monica, talks to Ashley because Ashley is having feelings as being gay, as it's proved into the episode. So she's asking about like gender fluid neutrality and stuff like that, women and men, and men and men, and women, that kind of thing. And then we have like Fanta, who comes into the mix, who basically talks to Viv about what she's done in her life, the places she's been. Maybe they should start up a TV show about women who go to places that other people dream of, that type of thing. And then Gerard and Nathan kind of play a prank later on. But what this dinner scene does is it allows Viv to see what Hillary can do. It allows Phil to prove that his daughter can do the things she does. But Trey, who's now drunk, Will's kind of, he's off talking to the Gerald and Nathan people. He basically puts out there that Will got off because of Carlton's dad, because of Phil, that it was not as scrupulous as you think it is, that it's actually not couth. Like, it's not a good, what happened was not good, and Will had the gun and stuff like that. So Carlton, who learns this new stuff about what happened, what truly happened, he confronts his dad about it, and somebody wrote on a comment that they're tired of this Carlton, they're never going to watch again. Carlton it's one of those characters that is going to be very, very frustrating until they finally do something with him. I really don't like his character that much. It's only 5 episodes, and I'm just tired of the nonsensical weirdness of his character. The ways he just acts and how he treats everyone is I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's getting a little tiresome, to be fairly honest. And he confronts Will, and he knows what Will did. And he's talking about how illegal it was. And he said he approaches his dad about this, and he's told to keep quiet. And he's like, "Yes, I'll do it because I'm the word. My honor is truthful." And he tells Will to stay away from Lisa and to stay away from him. And I don't know. Anyways, so it leads down some weird roads, and it just is what it is. And like I said, once the party ends, all that good stuff happens. We see Viv go talk to the Michael Ealy art dealer character, and he basically has an opening, a spot for Viv if she wants to put her art there. He's kind of coming on to her a little bit, kind of making his moves on her, because he sees the beneficial type of situation there. And of course, there's an interesting moment where basically he talks to Hillary. Hillary comes up to Ashley, and Ashley asks her a question, says she talked to Monica, and basically comes out of the closet, comes out and says, I'm interested in someone. I think the person's interested in me. It's Lucia or Lusa or whoever she says her name is. What's interesting about this scene, and I think is the most impactful, is how uninteresting the scene is literally she doesn't care. She's like, okay, you're gay. Who cares? You're 12 years old. You'll find your way. It doesn't matter if you like a guy or a girl. We live in a world where it doesn't matter. If you are gay and you love a girl, cool. What you like, tell me about her. And I just thought that was it's interesting for the simple fact that, all these episodes, even the early 90s TV sitcom episodes, really went hard on these situational topics where if somebody was gay, it would be kind of made fun of. I mean, you look at like Friends and even like Family Matters and stuff like that. It was played for laughs and was felt as a kind of a taboo. And here we have Hillary and Ashley talking. And Ashley says what she says. She says she's afraid of her parents, saying something to her parents because she's not sure. And the whole point of the whole conversation, what I think it makes it most impactful, even though it kind of does come out of left field a little bit, the way it's cut together, just says nothing. That's what I've always said. It's nothing. Who gives a shit? Like, no one cares. No one cares that you're gay or bi or straight. it's not what the point is. It's like, do you like this person? Sure. Then what the hell? Go for it. Excuse my language, but it's just how I believe it. And it makes the episode way more impactful than I was ever expecting. It's just that one small little 2-3 minute scene, and it tells everything you need to know about how progressive this series is now compared to even what it was back in the 90s. So I thought that was pretty good. And of course, Phil is pulled once again by his campaign manager. This is after the D-Smoke concert, kind of when everything starts going downhill. That basically there's a good and a bad to Phil's situation. The good is how he talks about his daughter, which was recorded on camera because this party had cameras all around like an influencer party. And then the bad was the whole idea that there is a campaign going against Phil for his whole comments about defunding the police and how it might screw up the economy and blah, blah, blah. It's a hit piece basically in a lot of aspects. But Phil's like his campaign manager, Steve, the Duane Martin character, is like, you were supposed to stay central, middle point, left. You stay left, but you stay middle left. And Phil's like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to be who I'm going to be. And if you don't like it, then I have millions of dollars. I'll find a way to do it myself. And that's kind of where his character ends. But I thought that was kind of a pretty powerful moment because it's like they expect you to be who they want you to be instead of who you want to be. And the public doesn't want that. They want to be who you want to be, not what they want you to be. So it feels like this character has a conflicting interest, but still is trying to do everything in his power. I mean, he also has the Will stuff, which is going to come out into the open at some point, I'm sure, in the season. But he also has his conflicting nature of his family, how the audience perceives him, and he's going to do what he has to do. So I thought that was pretty good. I like that. And so that leads to like the big culmination of what this episode is entailing about Will and his decisions. And it leads them to a D-Smoke concert, and they get VIP access, all the accoutrements, stuff like that. Phil is very connected, as we all know. And while they're getting ready to watch the show, the concert, Trey starts talking about how, like, because he's been talking through the entire episode about the basketball team and how Philly really needs him back and stuff like that. And Will during the concert before it starts, he's like, what if I didn't come back? And this kind of sets off Trey. He starts realizing what's happening. And Will's like, I haven't made a decision. And Trey's like, you know what you want. You know what you're going to do. And, you know, it's really sad to see. I guarantee you're going to see Trey and Will kind of reconnect at some point. But Will has pretty much made his decision to stay in Bel Air, which was what was always going to happen. There's no reason that Will, in a story, would move back to Philly in a story that's called Bel Air. That's what I said earlier. And it leads to this huge confrontation between Trey and Will from the D-Smoke concert to the house. Trey and Will get into a scuffle that almost leads to them getting into a fist fight. Trey basically calls him a traitor. He says this more forcefully and a little more cursing, but in essence, he calls him, in essence, a traitor. And it leads to, you know, Will and Viv, and Will's talking about how he doesn't feel like they can be brothers anymore. And Viv's like, you have to set your own path. You got to do what you got to do. You need to be you. It's hard growing up, basically, is what she's trying to entail. And it leads to Will and Trey outside the house because Trey's decided he's going to leave early. And Will, in essence, says, you know, I don't want this to go this way. But Trey, he's like, you know, I don't want to have to live in this 16 square block meter world. There's a better world. And Trey's like, well, Philly's my place. That's where I am. And it's a really sad moment. It's a really heartbreaking moment in a lot of aspects that, you know, the way things work in this world, the way things that happen, you move on, you moved out of the place. But you still have to call that place home, and that's what Trey's big situational arc is in this episode. It's just a simple fact that Trey knows who he is, and he feels like Will's forgotten who he is, and that Will's fake and now kind of a softie, and more of just somebody that is having to find themselves, and the people that he may know and love will unfortunately fall by the wayside because he's moving to what he needs to do, and some people just don't want to continue with that. And that's why this situation with Trey and Will is so kind of important and impactful for that simple reason. So I thought it was really sad and depressing. I thought it was really heartbreaking and all that kind of, you know, particular things, but it really is impactful for what it is. So but anyways, Will calls his mom and explains that he's going to stay. You can tell the heartbreak on his mom's face, but she says, I always support you. I'm your mom. I always love you. If you need to do this is what you need to do. We'll talk later because she has to go to work. And that's kind of where the episode ends. It ends with Will officially making a decision that he's going to stay out there. I don't even think it has to do with I think it's a perk having all these riches and fabulous lifestyles and stuff like that. But I think Will honestly and truthfully wants to stay out there to have a better life, to, you know, know, go to a better school. The things that he has set in motion is what made Will Smith, the character in The Fresh Prince, realize that he got everything he needed. It's just because this is a more dramatic telling of that series, things are going to be more realistic in its nature instead of more the crazy outlandish nature that The Fresh Prince got into. So with that said, it's a good episode. It has some good moments. I think the Carlton stuff is just a little out of control at this point. You would think after the last episode there would be some wrangling in, but the way Carlton acts, it's a really frustrating character. It actually it's gotten to a point where they need to do something. They need, like I said, wrangle him in, but I don't think they're going to do that. So anyways, overall, I'm going to give the episode a 8.5 out of 10. The Carlton stuff really took it down, but I think overall everything else works. I think it's going to be interesting to see where the second half of the series or the second half of the season goes, but for right now, it's still a good episode. Carlton. Ugh. So anyways, 8.5 out of 10 is my official score for this episode. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Comments below, what did you think of this overall episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it? All that good stuff. But otherwise, let me know. And if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell top. The final's coming next. If you like any of the videos, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.